here, and then mute it And then we'll go here to pin this up on the big one, and then they'll be down here. If you want to see them, you can hit that. If you don't want to see them because it takes up too much space, just go like that. Or if you want to do gallery view, I don't think anybody's up, but you can do that and go back to speaker view. Okay. Hey guys.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. You guys are all muted, but just so you know, Robert, come back here.
Oh, hold on, give me a coffee.
Just so you know, guys, today, Robert and Jose are wearing an example of an IBJJF legal gi and an IBJJF illegal gi. So,
no.
if you notice Jose's, when he puts his arms out like this, it's going to be legal.
Boom.
And that the bottom part of the gi comes down far enough, whereas Robert's gi looks like it belongs to my 13-year-old daughter.
What we're doing here is we're winning in the contest of who can skate that fine line, right?
That gi doesn't even fit me.
See there, and then boom, what were
Look
they?
at this. Look at this. How do you lapel guard that?
You don't. That's why I wear it. You don't lapel guard that. Here, what do I do? Let's see.
So it's actually already recording, and you guys are, the sound is off and they're muted. So if you want to talk to them, you can unmute them.
Some pretty handwriting,
Okay.
guys.
Ah! Hey, you got to take your hand off the mouse too.
Okay. Yeah, unmute them.
God damn it, that thing keeps
Let's see what's
popping
going
up.
on.
Pardon my language, guys.
We get you an Ezekiel. Hey.
Yeah, nobody talked to him.
All right, guys, we unmuted you. So if you have anything to say to these guys,
What's
you
up?
can.
Hey, good
Say it.
morning.
Hello.
Hey, so we want to kind of, before we get started, we want to talk about how we're going to, the format here that we're going to do. So obviously we're going to show technique, and in order to make it to where the video is better for everyone overall, as far as people being able to, that are watching now versus want to look it up later. We're going to show this stuff without really time for you guys to drill it right now. I mean, you can check it out and get a rep or a couple reps or something while we're showing it. Or you can just watch the video and see and study with your eyes and listening and looking for all these grips and all the changes in position and so on, all the details of the technique, and then go about drilling afterwards. So the way we'll be doing it is we'll show the full sequence first, and then we'll break it up into, today we're going to break it up into 3 separate techniques for the full sequence. And then we'll show the full sequence again at the end. Me personally, and I'll let Jose speak after, me personally, the way I like to drill things like this is I drill it in sections first. I like to see the whole thing. I like to drill it in sections, not always in the order. Okay, usually I'll drill the first and last, then the middle, and then you can connect it all really well. If it's 2 pieces, I usually drill the last part first, then the first, and then I can connect the second to the first easier. It's, for some reason, that's the way Jiu-Jitsu works for me. So an example of how I could drill this would either to do 10 reps on each side of each individually. And that would take a long time, right? If it's new. So 10 reps times, so it'd be 20 total of each one through 3 techniques. That would be 60 reps. Then I would combine the first 2 and then do 10 reps each side. And then I'd combine the last 2 techniques, do 10 reps each side. Then I combine all 3 and do 10 reps each side. So now, in order to get the full sequence with a lot of repetition, a lot of muscle memory, what did we just get? 120 reps, okay? And through that method, okay? So that's just one way to do it. So obviously, you can't do that during this video. Everyone goes at a different pace. It would be a long, long video. So anyways, that's just one recommendation on how to drill this kind of stuff. Okay, and as Jose can, Jose talking.
Yeah, so myself and Robert, we've been drilling this this particular sequence. We've drilled parts of the sequence before, but we've just been adding like new little pieces to it. And just remember to use this as a reference point, right? So when we drill something, typically for myself and Robert, it takes maybe about 30 to 50 reps before we realize, hey, that one felt good. That movement felt real good. So then we start the reps from there. Okay. So, if you're doing this with someone at home, just understand that the first few ones are not going to be great, but stick with it. And it'll start to feel a lot more natural. And again, this is going to be uploaded a little bit later, so you can draw back to it and really slow it down, rewind it, so you can hit all those little details.
Okay, so let me turn this to maybe we can see the better like that since we'll be on the ground. Yeah. Okay, so we'll show the full sequence here all the way through 2 times. Okay, without narration.
Yeah, without narration.
Okay, and then we'll go from there, breaking up into technique. So.
You want me to show?
Yeah.
All right, so this is going to be the sequence here. So.
Okay, so to go over what that is and broken up, you have, if you want to break it into 3 pieces, and we'll list this so that you can have some connection of words to the technique. He did a sitting guard pull to De La Riva, okay? And from there, he did a baby bolo towards the back that he switched to the leg drag finish. So he converted to a sweep, to a leg drag finish. He passed the legs from leg drag finish to side control. So baby bolo to leg drag finish to side control will be 1, okay? And then from side control, he forced the turtle because I could not turn in. The only way I could turn and do anything would be to turn away, create a turtle, and then he clock choked me. Okay, so sitting guard pull to DLR, okay? Baby bolo to leg drag finish to side control. Side control to turtle to clock choke. Those are the 3 pieces, okay?
Yeah.
And then if you want to talk about the first piece.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and look at the first portion of it, right? The guard pull from, and this is basically like, when we have a standing opponent over us, right? And we have to actively look for a grip and, how to pull in without him getting straight into like a guard passing position. So if we just start off right here, right? So my partner's just standing over me, right? So it's super important, right? That if I'm going to be pulling the De La Riva to one side right here, that I'm not leaning too far back, right? So if my head is leaning far back behind me and I'm pulling him, he can always steer my legs out of the way and pass very easily, right? So I always want to think about having my head, okay, in front of my hips right here. Okay, so I'm just kind of like back right there. That way, if he tries to push me backwards or something like that, it's very hard to spin my body, right? And it also gives me all this space to kind of pull the guard. So from here, I have the same side collar grip, but instead of pulling him towards me, what I want to think about doing is that I'm pulling straight down onto the collar, right? And this is just anchoring him to the floor. From here, I'm going to use my technical stand-up, right? So I'm balancing on 2 points, my left foot and my right foot, raising my hips up. My goal is to try to make contact with my right foot to his bicep, okay? And I go to the bicep and not to the hip, okay? So I raise my hip up. I'm going to place my foot to the bicep as I'm shooting in. And then at this halfway point, I'm going to go ahead and pivot my body to the same side I'm controlling the collar. I get 2 hands on the collar and I establish this De La Riva control. Okay, from here, then I just let go and I grab the ankle. Now I have a collar grip and an ankle grip. So if I do it again, I'm here, I grab the collar, I'm pulling straight down. I raise my hip up off of the floor. I make contact with the bicep and I'm going to spin to the left here. all while my left foot is actively looking for a De La Riva control immediately. Once I'm here to control the posture, I get 2 hands on it so you can't break both grips at the same time. And then I grab the ankle. Now from here, some minute details, right? If I have my foot on the bicep, I have to always be ready for my partner to circle his hand. If he circles my hands, I have to be very careful that he doesn't stuff my leg next. So yes, so what I want to do, as soon as I feel him circle his hand, well, I got to go ahead and reciprocate. I got to circle my foot, and then maybe I can start to extend, okay? So if he does that one more time, if he circles his hand, I circle my foot, and then I place it right there to the blade. If he circles the other way, right, then what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and make sure to curl my toes towards my shin, circle out to the right, and then I'm going to go heel, okay, to the bicep as I extend away. Okay, so once again, he tries to stuff it, I circle out, I go heel first, and then I can go ahead and control it. Now I have basically a De La Riva guard where I can either go foot to the bicep or foot to the inner thigh, ready for my next portion of attacks here.
Slow. So we do it really slow in slow motion this time. I think
So remember, guys, that this guard pull, it works on the same mechanics as like a half guard pull, right? So the old school half guard pull would be raising your hips up and then pulling right into the half guard. Except instead of pulling the half guard, I go foot to the bicep instead. 2 hands on the collar, grab the ankle. Now I'm ready to work here.
okay. One last thing. Jose was making a point to explain that his head is over his legs so that I don't have a clear path to grab grips. So Jose likes to sit like this, right? Well, sometimes you can sit like this too, okay? And just to show different variations, you can sit like this and grab, okay? Or if he's here, he's grabbing from here. I can't really sit like Jose does.
But the reason he does that, right? So if he's sitting down in like a butterfly position, if he's got his legs in front, right, they're going to be very easy grips to grab. So if you keep your legs out in front of you. So if he has his feet out like that, it's very easy for me to hand fight and then immediately grab his pants to start going off to the side. So the fact that he crosses his ankles, one, I can't get a grip and his hands are always ready to defend and then look for his grip. Okay, now you can go ahead and set up that pull. Very nice. Do it one more time, please. So he's doing the cross legs version, okay, which is perfectly fine. I can't grab his pants right here. He can grab my collar once he's ready. Now he can set up the pull. Okay.
So technique 1, sitting guard pull to DLR, okay? Technique 2 will be you're in the DLR and you have the grips from the pull, and then we're gonna switch to the grips for the baby bolo and do the baby bolo sweep to leg drag finish. Pass the legs to side control, so you get the sweep and the pass to side control for your full 5. Okay, so I'll let Jose explain that here.
So the baby bolo is an awesome option, right? Especially if you don't have, like, let's say the flexibility within your hips, right, to kind of thread the foot behind the ankle, so to do a traditional back take, right? But it allows us to kind of get the opponent to the ground and, you know, start setting up this leg drag position. So what I want to do first is I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate it twice and explain it. Okay, so let me go ahead and demonstrate it twice just from the De La Riva position. So I'm starting off right here. Maybe I start off with my foot onto the bicep, okay? I switch my foot to the bicep to the inner thigh, right? And once I'm ready to go, I'm gonna push with my right foot onto the inner thigh to sit up to my left elbow, and I'm gonna switch my collar grip to grab the belt grip. I need to find an anchor, and the belt is in right next to the hip right here, okay? When I'm ready to go, I'm always keeping my De La Riva active. Now, if I wanna figure out a way to get to the back, it's not so easy for me just to place my foot to the ground and just start trying to work towards the backside, because we can always like be circling at the same time. Here, circle. There you go. So it's like basically like musical chairs. We're just chasing each other. So how do I get to the back quicker? Okay, I'm going to be using this foot on the floor and this belt grip to propel myself to the back. So if you can see, I'm just sitting up to my left elbow. My right foot goes to the ground. I'm going to pull the belt towards me, push off of the ground. So it's almost like his left foot will do like a short little back step here. As soon as he does that little back step, my left hand is going to grab the pant right here. Okay, this is going to lead right into the leg drag finish just nicely. I don't want to underhook the leg, okay? I'm going to end up in this awkward leg drag position. I always want to grab right here. And if you can see from my leg positioning, right, my right shin is behind his hamstring and calf. My left calf is hugging the bottom part of his instep or shin right here. So if I show it once again. So once again, from the De La Riva position, I have a nice strong collar grip. I have the ankle grip. Once I'm ready to go, I'm going to push and I'm going to sit up to my left elbow. Okay, once I sit up, I grab the belt. I'm going to place my foot to the floor. Notice how I'm active with my left foot. Now I'm just going to propel myself to the backside. Okay, I grab the pants. I'm securing his leg so he doesn't get away. And my shin is behind. My legs are parallel to the floor. Okay, so once I'm ready to go, I'm going to pull his tailbone directly on top of my hip. Okay, eventually I want to circle my left shin behind the calf. So in order to do so, I need to make sure that his right foot is off of the floor. So as I begin to tilt him off towards the right side, at that point right here, okay, anytime his right foot leaves the ground, I can circle my left foot behind his calf. Now I have both of my shins behind his calf. I dump his hips to the floor. And now before I start to come up, I pull his leg all the way across my waistline. Super important to tell on what my leg is doing right here, right? I'm constantly keeping these toes curled in. I don't want my legs to cross like this. I don't want to get caught up in the 50-50 or knee lock. So I keep it behind his calf, but more importantly, my knee is driving into the ground. Okay, so I'm always behind his calf. Left hand now, I can switch to the far collar. Using my right foot, I'm going to bridge from my shoulder temple, and then I can come up to a nice strong leg drag. Okay, so once again. So guys, if you can see, like there's a lot of little details within these movements, right? But that's part of like organizing your jiu-jitsu. It's like really hitting these details. So once again, I have a strong collar grip, push and sit up, grab the belt, foot to the ground, and then we propel ourselves to the back. Once I have my right hand on the belt, left hand on the pant, I pull his tailbone down, I tilt sweep him to the right, and now I circle my left shin behind his calf. From here, I'm going to pull his leg as my right leg comes out. Okay, so now that I'm here, left hand is going to look for the far collar, and then notice my knee is putting downward pressure, okay? So I have full control of his right leg. Using my right foot, bridge. I come up, and I end up in a nice, strong leg drag position with my left elbow next to the hip. My right hand is lifting his belt up right here so he can't turn towards me. Okay. And I know it seems a little trivial, right? But if you can, try to be live on your toes when you're in the side control position so you can drive off of the ground. If you're flat-footed like this, you don't have a lot of movement, okay? So you want to be on your toes, and we're here.
Okay, so I would, if you don't mind, I would like to show the version of the leg.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jose was explaining at the beginning of the technique that when he rotates around to take the back, that it's his rotation in the pull that keeps me from being able to follow, because he has a shorter circle, right? It's a smaller circle he has to travel. He's initiating the travel, so I have to react to him. And I have a longer circle to keep up with him. Either way I want to circle, if I want to step over one way or follow him, okay? So he has the lead, and he uses that and the momentum to get to my back and grab my pant before I can square up with him. So what he was saying is this. So Jose does it like this, where he goes, De La Riva, he pushes away, he grabs. Now when he puts his foot down, so if he's late, right? Or if I kill this hook, boom, I square up, okay? But what he's doing is using this pull, push, and then hopping his hips. Now he just beat me to the back. And he grabs this pin, so I can't turn. Or I can't turn the other way. If he lets go of it, I can go boom here, right? Okay? So there's one other way. I mean, a lot of other ways, but one way that I like to do it a little different, and it's just another version so you can understand that concept. You can have two ways to see and pick which one is good for you. Okay, so if I have Jose here, okay, I'm gonna kick away, sit up, grab the belt, okay? Now, when I put my foot down, instead of rotating through, I'm gonna shoot this leg through.
So pay close attention to what this leg right here.
There is some risk, okay? There's some risk of him sliding out of a knee bar, but I'm first, okay? So now I'm gonna stomp, I'm gonna lift my hips and go to the back just like Jose and pull like a high pull with this hand, but this leg's gonna shoot through and it's gonna keep him from rotating. So I'm gonna go here, boom. Okay, so now he can't rotate towards me. Okay, now I can grab this pant. Okay, now my knee goes back and then I plant here. Okay, and there's like a scissor here. Okay, then I can pull down. And it's the technique. Okay, so one more time, that variation will be. So we're in De La Riva, ankle, collar. I'm gonna kick away and sit up to my elbow, grab the belt. Now, if I wanna be mobile, I need to put this foot on the ground. Here, I'm gonna hop my hips, pull, and that makes him back step with this foot. This pull makes him step backwards. And I don't shoot my leg through here. When I shoot my leg through, I would like to be further about here. Now I can grab the pant and then bring my shin behind his knee. Close the other. Now pull him down. Come up here. Okay, so I still have the belt. Reach across for the far side collar. Now, not this knee, the other foot here. This is my driver. Okay, I'm gonna come up on my head and shoulder. Here to the leg drag finish. Okay, so just another way, and also really so that you guys that are new to the concept or this technique can understand why we're doing that and how that prevents the person on top from following us or stepping over in the opposite direction to square up. Okay, so
Yeah, perfect.
okay, so next technique will be side control to turtle, or he's gonna force me to turtle, and he's gonna clock choke me when I move to the turtle position. Do you think it'd be better to go over the leg drag finish to side control? That way they can't see these grips.
Yeah, that works.
Okay. This way you guys can see these grips that Jose is using, okay?
Okay, so we'll just start off like essentially like in this leg drag position, right? So remember what the leg drag is, right? So we have our instep behind his calf muscle. My knee is basically trying to drive next to the ground, but not so much to the point where my left foot comes out and he can start forcing these leg locks, 50-50 entanglements, right? So when I'm here, my left hand is looking for the spar collar, right? And I want to think about keeping my elbow on the inside of my knee, not on the outside of the knee, okay? Because if he can push my chest and he can expand his knee open, right? Yeah, he can recompose, right? So come back. So the big thing is that I don't want his like knee or shin across my chest, right? Right now I'm in front of his thigh, but if he pushes my chest and he just opens, expands his left knee like that, then he can start to recompose his guard, right? So I keep my knee tight. I have this high collar grip with my right hand. We turn this like this. I'm essentially just grabbing it kind of like, you may start off right here after the sweep, okay, where you just grab it. But when I want to grab it, I want to grab it basically where the ground and his hip meet, almost like I'm shaking his belt, okay, like I'm shaking someone's hand. And I clamp my elbow tight, okay? Once I'm here, then I can do just a short little circle off to the left. Make sure that your head is not on the outside, okay, of his lat. He can stiff arm you. Yes, exactly. So I want my head essentially on the inside of his chest. I circle and I'm here. What I like to do, okay, I like to kind of like rest my elbow along my hip line and thigh. So if I need some extra support because the guy's bigger or heavier, I can always post my right leg and have all the weight supported on top of my quad here, okay? But again, I want to just be on my toes. So once again, from this leg drag, I have the leg drag position. I have that hard collar, okay? Elbow on the inside of my knee, okay? So on the inside of my knee, not on the outside of the knee, inside. Right hand grabs the belt. I put my right ear next to his chest, and then I circle off to the right. Once I circle off to the right, I have a strong side control. What I have to worry about is that right foot of his reaching out so that he turns towards me, right? Exactly. So I'm lifting his belt up, but more importantly, my left elbow is clamping his hip. Okay, so I'm essentially just caging his hips. My right hand is lifting his belt up. My left elbow is clamping his hip towards me, making it very hard for him to turn towards me, okay? So I can essentially set the pace of how quickly he turns away from me, okay? So again, this is the leg drag to the side control. Okay, so I'm here, I grab the belt, everything's nice and tight. I circle, I clamp him down, I lift the belt up, and I'm active on my toes, okay? Once he recognizes, okay, that he cannot turn towards me, well, the only other option is to turn away to avoid the points. As he turns away, I chase, okay, I chase his hips. So if we turn to the, okay? So once I'm here, he's gonna start to turn away. As he turns away, okay, I start to chase him. Now, with the hand that was grabbing the belt, I'm gonna relinquish the control, okay? And I'm gonna look for my grip to set up my clock choke. The hand that was on the far collar can stay there. I'm gonna explain, I'm gonna have Robert explain kind of like the different variations of clock chokes that there are, but a nice simple option is just to maintain that collar grip. With my right hand, I like to go essentially behind the horse collar, and I like to go along the groove line of the neck until I get a strong grip to set up my clock choke. Okay, so once again, I go 4 fingers in the horse collar. I allow my thumb knuckle, okay, to go along the groove line of the neck until I secure a nice, tight collar grip. Once I'm ready to go, remember, the clock choke is a hip strangulation, so I must get my hip over the top of the shoulder here. Okay, so once I get my hip over the top of the shoulder, now I can go ahead and begin putting pressure as I start pulling my right elbow up and we'll start walking around in a counterclockwise motion here. Once again, leg drag, notice the grip, right? It's far collar, right hand is on the belt grip. The grip that'll change is the belt grip here. I'm in leg drag, side control, my opponent turns away from me. Once he realizes, you know, things are starting to get too close for the points, right hand, if you can notice, horse collar grip behind the brainstem, go along the groove line until you get a nice deep grip. Now I must get my left hip over the top of his right shoulder, so I'm just gonna shift. Once I get all this weight over the top of the shoulder, it's very hard for my opponent to posture, okay? So part of the reason people are getting out of the clock choke is if my hip is not over his shoulder, posture straight up. Go ahead, posture straight up. You see how he starts to off balance me. I must get my heavy hips over him, okay? So that way when he tries to pick up his head, he cannot, and now I can start rotating in a clockwise fashion, lifting my elbow up for the clock choke. Okay? So I'm gonna have Robert, okay, explain some of the different gripping variations for the clock chokes, right? So there's it's not just the far collar and a collar grip, right? You can grab the wrist, the inner thigh, you can go armpit. We're just gonna quickly run through these versions of the clock choke.
Okay, so I really only do one version anymore, but so Jose, if he sits up, off the leg drag finish, he's gonna end up with this collar here, okay? So it's really good. His clock choke, really with these grips is what? It's a sliding collar or a zipper choke, they call it. And you have counter pressure while I'm pulling this way with the hip on the shoulder. So if I use my elbow to push on the shoulder, it's like pushing on the shoulder, pulling with this hand, pulling with this hand. Here, okay? So with mine, I'm gonna go hip on the shoulder, but I usually don't use this grip. I keep my hand, it's like a leg Turk on the inside of this leg, okay? Or I'll go a one-on-one. I usually go leg Turk because I like to put my head on the ground. So if I start with this grip, okay, that Jose had, I'll first reach for the same grip, and I can use the same sequence here. Okay, let's do this. So I have the cross collar underneath. Okay, I'm hip to hip. My elbow is at his is caging his hip on this side. I'm going to swim through, and you're just like a can opener right here. Okay, boom, here. And I get this grip, thumb in, okay? Now for me, when I slide my hip onto the shoulder, I like to slide my hip all the way onto the shoulder and put my head onto the ground as I turk this leg. So this hand will go here, and I'm gonna slide over here and put my head on the ground, okay? And then I'm gonna walk bottom leg first as I open with this hand and pull with the collar grip, okay? So I think we'll need a different view. Okay, so I have the cross collar underneath, cross lapel. Okay, I have the 4 fingers in the horse collar. I'm gonna use this can opener here, boom, here to get the far side collar. Okay, now I'm looking at sliding my hip over his shoulder. This hand is gonna go inside this thigh, and I'm just gonna open up like this. Okay, so I'm here. Just like this. So I put pressure on the shoulder, and that counters the pull. So push essentially with the hip, with the downward pressure, pull here. I'm keeping him still with this hand tuck in the leg, and I walk bottom leg first. Okay. So one more version also is just to go a one-on-one here. Okay, so one-on-one wrist control. Okay, so if we start in this position, okay, or here, I'm gonna swim through, grab the collar, go one-on-one, and then I'm gonna go hip down. Boom. So this one I would keep kind of the head up, and you see how my hip is over his shoulder. As I walk through, I pull up, okay, and it's real tight. Okay, so that's one that you see is like very kind of old school clock choke, okay, but it's a very good one. So I have the cross lapel, and I have the horse collar. I'm going to switch to the one-on-one. Okay, now I'm going to can opener for this grip here, and then now I'm going to slide my hip over his shoulder. This one, my head's not going to hit the ground. Boom! I just stepped, right? Now, boom. Okay. So those are a couple other variations of the clock choke.
Within all those variation, guys and girls, is the most important part. Remember, the technique is a hip strangulation. Super critical that you get your hips over the person's shoulder and or behind their neck to prevent them from posturing up, right? And then the choke is all the same.
Okay. So we split that up into 3 separate techniques, right? Let's talk about it again. You have a sitting guard pull to DLR. Okay. You have from DLR, that's technique 1, okay? Technique 2 is from DLR, you have baby bolo to leg drag finish, and transition from leg drag finish to side control. Okay. Technique number 3 is you're in bottom side control, you cannot turn in. So what is your partner, by default, it forces you to turn away because you can recover from turtle, right? So it forces the turtle, and off the turtle, you're gonna clock choke. Okay, so you're gonna force them to give you something that you want in this case. Now we'll show it again. Have Jose show the whole full sequence twice, and I'll show my variation of the leg drag, and then my variation of the clock choke, and then Jose has his variation, or I mean my variation of the baby bolo, and then my variation of the clock choke as well. And then you can see 2 versions here. Okay, so we'll have Jose go through it first.
Okay, so again, this is the full sequence right here, right? So one more time.
Okay, so that was the full sequence. And then just so you know the differences in these sequences, the major differences that mine will have is I'm going to be seated with cross-legged for the pull. When I do the baby bolo, my difference is I shoot the leg through to prevent the stepping following, okay? And then a slightly different variation of the clock choke where I turk the leg and I bring my head to the ground. Okay, so different variations of a piece of all 3, okay? a different mixer just then. Here. Okay, so that is the techniques, part one of the techniques for the week. So our strategy in this is we're giving you guys enough to where if we give you 2 installments here and you have a drilling partner at home, okay, you can drill each piece of this 50 times, right? Until you start combining one piece with another piece, right? Especially if you're just quarantined at home or staying at home because of whatever your particular situation is here, okay? So you can drill nice and easy. No need to make it. This is pretty relaxed drilling here, okay? And if you have maybe somebody in your house who's in the kids or juniors class, they can play one piece, right? You can play the sitting guard pull to the DLR, right? And then maybe add a tripod sweep. Look it up. Right? Yeah.
So just remember, guys, that like, you know, when you drill this technique, right, you know, the sequence, you know, drill the first portion about like 10 reps, you know, the other person drills 10 reps, and then you move on to the second movement, again, 10, 10. We feel like that's probably the easiest way to really just, you know, slowly add it into your game, right? As opposed to just doing the first movement, 100 reps, right? Because then you might be doing it wrong and there might be some communication. This feels better, you know, as you're drilling and learning these techniques, right? What the person on top does and to allow him to set up the first part is important as well. I cannot be upright. I have to give him the right reaction. And in drilling, that's really hard to get going with a partner if they don't know how to drill, right? So let's say that he's sitting down, right? I don't want to be like this, right? I don't want to be so upright. You probably can't even see it from the camera. I don't want to be like this, standing upright, him look for the collar grip, because I'm not giving him the correct reaction for the pull here, right? Does that make sense? So what I want to do is I want to bend my legs a little bit. My elbows are flared out, so I'm giving him a ledge, okay, for that foot to land. And I'm not walking towards him or anything. I'm standing stationary. My back is strong, so that way I don't get a ringer in my neck here, right? So again, notice my stance, a good little bend in the legs. I'm looking at my opponent, my hands are up, my elbows are a little bit wide, so you guys have a target. So being a good partner, drilling partner for your partner is super critical, right? So again, I'm just making sure that I'm doing my best job so that he does the move as best that he can while he's learning the technique.
Do you want to unmute it and see if they have questions?
Yeah, you can.
So you go to the
Are they?
participants, I think.
Can you help out? I mean, there's 3, so I mean, they might have questions about view or how to.
Unmute all.
Yep. There you
Okay, I think.
And then,
Help
can
to-
we,
And then if you guys want
Look
to,
at it
you
just
can
in
put
case.
them in gallery view in case anybody's
Yeah.
up there.
All right.
Yeah. What's up,
Good morning.
guys?
So, Dave,
So-
Victoria.
you guys have any questions about the techniques or anything? Any questions, comments, or about it?
No, I don't think
It
so.
was pretty clear.
Okay. Hey, so I don't want to jump overstep Jose's bounds, but if you guys want to drill this, Dave and Adalia, just remember, you know, you can find the simple part. Like you start in turtle, she can try the clock choke, right?
Yeah,
Or
and I'm,
try to pull and then just go to I mean, from De La Riva, you can go to tripod sweeps and sickle sweeps.
Gotcha.
Okay. But like you can do those little parts or try the whole thing or you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
yeah, I'm just trying to get her into De La Riva.
So you're good to go. Okay.
So you can try it too. I think Jose would be really excited to see you get these guard pulls and have a clock choke when people turtle on you, Adalia. He'd be
Oh,
super.
there you go.
Yes. So again, yeah, so Adalia, we'll see you a little bit later for the kiddos class at around 1. Hopefully Emma will join us too, and she can work us out really good. Yeah. No?
Okay.
Do you want to say announcement?
Oh yeah, so we're gonna make an announcement later today, and regarding the opening of the gym. And I mean, you guys are right here. What we're gonna do is, I believe the governor said May 18th is the start of the second phase. So we're just going to open on May 18th. They're not
Okay.
giving us any more details, so we're opening May 18th. You know, enough. We're opening. We're gonna do some jiu-jitsu. We'll release more details as we get closer, because we want to be sure and put in. Everyone has a clear understanding of procedures and how the things that have changed, how that's changed, and it's gonna be easier if we have it in a nice format, maybe a video, and can email everyone too. Also share the social media so we have it nice and cleanly explained, so everyone has an understanding. But yeah, so just a little bit longer, about 2 weeks, right? May 18th, we'll open up. We'll be happy to see all you guys in
Yeah.
person.
We're excited.
Say hi.
We hope you guys are excited too.
Yeah.
I didn't know you were opening.
Yeah, they're gonna open. That'd be nice. I'm an ultra heavy now, so
That's great.
Okay. All right, you guys. Well, you guys have a good morning and a good
Thank
day.
you so much.
Okay.
thank you.
Bye.